Does walking seem to just take everything out of you, like completely zap your energy? Well, then this video is for you, because the topic of today's video is how to improve walking efficiency. One of the most critical components of walking to get you to being just a household ambulator to actually being able to walk in the community with confidence and without fear of falling. If you're new to this channel, I'm Tara. I'm a neurologic physical therapist, and on this channel we talk about anything and everything related to mobility, health, fitness, mindset in the context of neurologic injury, with the end goal of empowering you with as many tools as possible to take ownership of your rehab and reach your highest maximum level. And with all that being said, today we're going to go over strategies on how to make your walking more efficient and allow you to walk longer distances without fatiguing. And it starts by understanding what are some of the main gait deviations that I feel cause someone to fatigue quickly and not be able to walk those longer distances. One is those of you that circumduct or swing your leg around the side and or hike your hip up and lean. Now, the reason I put those three things together is in most cases, all three of those happen together. So what are some of the reasons why this might be happening? Why you swing your leg around the side, hike that hip up, or lean to the side? One is weakness in the hip flexors, which are the muscles that bring that leg forward. If those muscles are weak, you kind of lean to the side and then basically just momentum will swing that leg through. The other one is weakness in the muscles that lift the foot up. Now, this is different from spasticity, which is an involuntary pointing, and we're going to get to that as well. But true foot drop can cause someone to circumduct or swing the leg around the side, hike the hip up, and lean to the side. The other one is a stiff knee, or a knee that locks out straight. That, again, will cause someone, if you can't bend your knee, bending your knee helps you to clear the ground when you're swinging the leg through. If your leg is locked out, again, the only way to get that leg through and clear the ground is to swing it around the side and or hike your hip up and or lean. In most cases, people do all three. The other one is spasticity in the muscles that point the foot down. So that involuntary pointing of the foot, again, that technically makes the leg longer, so you can't bring the leg through. So again, what do? Swing the leg around the side, hike that hip up, and or lean to the side. So that's one major thing that can create a ton of fatigue. It is not efficient. Again, all that extra movement of the hip hiking, the leaning, and the swinging it around the side definitely will cause you to use more energy and fatigue more quickly. Now, that is all revolved or surrounding the swinging phase of the walking. Now, as far as the standing phase of the walking, what's the biggest gait deviation or impairment that creates someone to fatigue more quickly? And that is knee hyperextension. If you've been following me for a while, you know I talk about this all the time because, again, I think it is something that's so important to address in order to make your walking more efficient. In addition to the fact that it really does damage your knee over time, but this is a video on walking efficiency, so that's why I bring it up, is when your knee goes into recurvatum or hyperextension, it makes it harder to bend that knee to swing it through. The other problem is it does kind of throw you backwards when you lock your knee out, and so you're constantly having to almost kind of compensate for that by lurching forward a little bit, again, wasting a ton of energy. Now, the other one that's kind of a big picture kind of gait deviation or gait problem that I see that isn't necessarily associated with spasticity or an abnormal synergy pattern, but is very common when someone is recovering from a stroke or MS or someone who has Parkinson's disease, and that is a forward flexed posture. So when you're flexed forward, there is less distance between you and the ground, so you do have to work a lot harder to bring that leg through. When you're standing up nice and tall, It's just natural momentum will just swing that leg through. When you're flexed over, it does make it so much harder to swing that leg through, so you do waste a ton of energy. So now, what do you do about this? Well, let's break it down. Let's go back to that swinging phase of gait. The things that you want to be able to do is you want to be able to bend your knee. You want to be able to bend your knee and lift your hip at the same time. And you want to have a method to work on swinging the leg through without feeling the need to hike your hip up, lean to one side, or swing the leg around the side. So I like to start laying down, just working on the knee bending, using gravity to assist. Now, one thing that I failed to mention earlier is that swing phase of gait is somewhat of a passive movement. So that alone is why a lot of you waste energy, is you have to work so hard to get that leg through, when under normal conditions, it really is meant to be passive. So when we work on these bed level activities, a lot of them are going to be just passive, learning how to let the knee bend. So how do we do that? Weight on the leg hanging off the side of the bed, and just letting it fall. Relearning how to do that passive knee bending necessary for swinging the leg through. So the purpose of this exercise is to learn how to inhibit or make the quadriceps less active. So this is for anyone who their leg always tends to be stiff or lock out in extension. What we're doing on this one is we're actually locking the leg out. So I am kicking it out straight. And then I have an ankle weight on my ankle to help to bend the knee. What you want to think about after extending it is relaxing the leg. Again, we're trying to decrease that stiffness that you feel when you're walking. Some people will think of that as like their foot feels like it's getting stuck to the ground when they try and swing it through. Those are all signs that you might have an overactive quadricep muscle. So this is a good gait drill for anyone that has that stiff leg. So I'll show it to you again. You're just going to kick it out, and then the goal is to let it relax. So you're going to kick it out, and then you're trying to let that knee bend by relaxing that quadricep. Kick it out, and then let that knee bend by relaxing that quadricep. Kick it out, and then let that knee bend by relaxing that quadricep muscle. Then, of course, just working on flexing the hip up, especially if you're someone that just has true hip flexor weakness, meaning you can't lift that leg. And again, and I've said it before, but it's always worth repeating, these aren't exercises where you do 3 sets of 10. Remember, you are learning, you are relearning a movement, and you need to keep doing this until it gets to the point where it's automatic and you don't have to think about it. So for a lot of you, that might be why you're not getting to that next level, is you're just not doing enough repetitions. So I would just lay on your back and just march, 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 march as much as possible. If you think about it, that is swing phase. So do that as much as you can. I've showed this one a lot in other videos, but how do you work on the passiveness of swinging that leg through? It's really 2 steps. One is step downs, because that is passively flexing your knee, and the other one is the skateboard. So I've shown this in a lot of videos, but just having that foot on a skateboard and learning how to passively let that leg come through, super valuable exercise. Now, as far as the standing phase or the stance phase, how do you walk without locking your knee out or going into that hyperextension? Crouch walking, crouch walking, crouch walking. I can't stress it enough. Now remember, this video is all about walking efficiency. So although it might not seem like a problem, if you want to be able to walk longer distances, I think it's invaluable, an invaluable tool or exercise to do every single day. I tell people to visualize you're walking in a room with a ceiling on it that's probably like a foot shorter than you are, and you're trying to walk under it. Flexed knees, flexed hips, walk without letting that knee lock out. I like it with hands behind the back. The reason is this can start to hurt your back after a while. Being in this crouched position, having your hands locked behind your back has a tendency to take some of that stress off of your back. So crouch walking, I promise you, if you do it enough over time, it will make your walking more efficient. You have to get to an automatic phase where you can maintain that knee flexed while you're walking. What I see a lot of times happen is people will do it great in therapy, and then I'll kind of spy on them as they're walking out to their car. And as soon as they get out of the therapy gym and they're starting to speed up, they're just locking that knee out again. So remember, you're trying to get to that automatic phase, and that means you have to do it a ton. The more you do it wrong, the harder the pattern's going to be to break. The more you replace that with successful attempts, the more you're going to undo that habit. And then as far as the forward flexed posture, if you're early on, I like what I call seated gym ball lifts. So for this exercise, what we're working on is thoracic and lumbar extension. This is a really good first step in regaining a more upright posture if you're someone who has a tendency to lean back, and just overall a great strengthening exercise for the low back muscles, as well as getting some pressure down through the feet. So depending on where you're at in the recovery process, if you're early in the recovery process, getting that weight bearing through the feet is really important. If you're a little bit further on and you feel like you slump over quite a bit, then this is also a great activity, again, to exercise or strengthen all of those muscles that help to hold your body more upright. So the key for this exercise is that you really make sure you're pushing down through your heels, and when you lift that ball up, continue to push down through your heels as you bring the ball up over your head. And then really pay attention to keep that chest up as you lower the ball. So instead of slumping forward, you want to really keep that chest up, so you're keeping that thoracic spine nice and extended the entire time. Down to the floor, really hinging at the hips, and then up and overhead. Down and up. Down and up. Down and up. Down and up. And laying face down, locking your knees out and your glutes at the same time. So for this exercise, what we're working on is extending the back and squeezing those glutes at the same time, trying to get those two muscle groups to kind of link up together. So I like a roll underneath the ankle. You're locking your knees out, squeezing your bottom, and trying to lift that chest. If you can't lift that chest, or it doesn't feel like it's coming up very high, that's okay. Even if you're just coming like an inch off of the mat, you're still really engaging all of those back muscles. So don't worry so much about the height. If you're even lifting a little bit, then you're getting something out of this exercise. Now, if you do have hemiparesis and your arm does not get up into that position, you can do this with your arms down by your side. Or if you can get them up into this position but you just can't lift it off the mat, that's okay. I would prefer you had it in this position, even if you can't lift it up off the mat. If you can't get it into this position, then putting them down by your side. But let me show that to you again. Again, arms in this W position if possible. Lock those legs out and try and lift that chest. Even if you're just lifting your head, even if you're just doing this, you're engaging those back muscles. So stick with it. You're still getting something out of it, but the goal movement is to kind of get that chest up, get those arms up, and lock those legs out all at the same time. Another one laying down that I love are gym ball bridges. So just getting your body into a fully extended position with your legs on a gym ball, learning how to activate all those muscles on the back at the same time. So for this exercise, what we're doing is we're trying to work our core stabilizers in performing a hip extension at the same time. So you want your legs to stay very still on the ball, and you want as little movement with the ball as possible. So let me show that to you again. You're gonna just lift your bottom. If you find that you can't hold the ball still, you can start with your arms down. And again, you're just lifting your bottom, squeezing your glutes, squeezing your core, and trying not to let that ball roll side to side. Easier position is arms down, harder position is arms up. If it starts to sway a little bit, just tighten up a little bit through your core and do everything you can to not let that ball roll side to side. Hold it about 5 seconds and then come down. And then what I call posture retraining. So just standing with your back against the wall, feet as close to the wall as possible, and trying to get your shoulders on the wall. Sometimes if someone's a little bit higher level, I'll even put a little towel roll behind their head and just kind of have them hold that towel roll there. Now remember, these are kind of like endurance muscles, so it really is something that this posture exercise is that you just want to get in that position and hold it as long as you can. 1, maybe even 2 minutes without coming off the wall. That would be, if you're really high level, maybe start with 15 seconds. But again, you're trying to get as much of your body in contact with the wall at the same time. So this is a posture re-education exercise. We're using the wall kind of as a reference point and trying to get as much of our body in contact with the wall as possible. Again, really working on a vertical upright posture. This exercise is great for any of you who have a tendency to flex over when you walk. And then those are all my tips. I think if you did all of those, you would definitely improve your efficiency and improve your overall walking distance. Now, some other tips that I think help to make walking more efficient are gait pulls. I prefer those to a walker. They're lightweight and they get you a little bit taller. They get you standing up a little bit taller. Definitely, and for those of you who've been around for a while, you know I'm going to mention this, an AFO. Definitely, an articulated AFO is extremely beneficial for this. That'll prevent that involuntary pointing of the foot, and to some degree, it'll unlock your knee when you're right before you pick the leg up off of the ground to swing it through. And then I really like a Swedish knee cage. A Swedish knee cage is specifically designed to unlock your knee or not let your knee hyperextend. Like a hinged knee brace does not do the same thing. A Swedish knee cage has a metal bar behind the knee, which is actually super duper important because your muscles are so strong that you will overpower any other type of knee brace. So you really need this type of brace, which they call a Swedish knee cage, to help keep that knee unlocked. So those would be the tools that I would recommend, again, in order to make your walking more efficient and allow you to walk longer distances. Now, the other thing that I always like to bring up is getting a brace is not black and white. It's not like if you get a brace, you're doomed, you're gonna have to wear it all the time. I tell people, like, just get the brace and wear it for those times where you want to be able to walk longer distances, enjoy your time with friends and family, not have to worry about looking for a bench or sitting down. It does not need to be black and white. So again, just because you get a brace doesn't necessarily mean you need to wear it all the time. You can just have it in your tool bag that you pull out in those situations when you really just want to enjoy a day at Disney, enjoy a trip to the mall with a friend, someplace where you have to walk those longer distances. So give these tips a try. Let me know how it goes. If you liked some of those videos that you saw of the exercises earlier in this video, definitely head over to our website, check out our membership program where we have a catalog of all of these exercises that you can have access to. Listen, the people that are members that are reaching out to me and providing feedback, they say that just doing the exercises in that exercise library, they are seeing improvements that they haven't seen in years. It's only $30 a month, and I think it is invaluable and can in some cases replace that physical therapy session that you're going to once a week. So definitely head over there, check it out. Also, definitely head over to Instagram, follow us over there. We post exercises multiple times a week that you can incorporate into your home exercise, and that's 100% free, extremely valuable information. So if you're not following us over there, definitely head over there, Rehab HQ Global. I enjoyed spending time with you all today, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.